Okay, so again, welcome. It's so nice seeing so many of your faces here. Um, Freshmen and some of the sophomores. It's been an awful weird year. Normally, at the very beginning, we're all doing department picnics. We have our ThEd picnic. There's just so many opportunities for us to get together, to meet you all and to like get to know each other. But unfortunately, as we know, things aren't normal this year. So we're trying our hardest, and what we did at the beginning, what Felix did with us, it's just a little step to get to know you all a little more, and so you all get to know us a little more, get to know our faces and our names and stuff like that. So again, it's just so great to see you all. So we're gonna start out. How many of you went to a ThEd club meeting in the past, last semester, the one before that? Raise of hands. All right, awesome. So a little fun thing that we are piloting, we're rolling it out starting this month. And then our next meeting next month, we're going to go over this with you all. And then we're going to vote on if we like what's happening. So there has been a little change that we have made in how ThEd Club is going to be ran this time. In the past, it's been set up by a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer, and then representatives of each class. We decided that we didn't like that structure. We don't like this idea of a power structure, because we think it makes room for certain things to get lost in the web and lost in translation. So what we are doing this time is we have formed a ThEd cabinet and representatives. And the cabinet right now consists of me, Skylar, and Chelsea. And right now, Felix is our only representative that we have with us. And so basically what that means is us as president, or not president, we're not doing that. We have the cabinet, and the cabinet is in charge of overseeing and planning and executing all the ThEd Club meetings and making sure everything falls in line of what's happening this semester and the coming semesters. And what a representative is, and Felix is going to get into this a little later, is you are also that voice within our exec board as a whole. We really want to make this something that gets you all more involved and gets your voices more involved. And that's like our biggest thing that we want to stress with you all this semester specifically, is we want your voices to be heard and we want them to be valued. And we want to be here for you, and we want to do what you want to do. Our purpose of this club is to better us as teachers, to better the kids that we work with in the community, to help those who have a passion for education, arts advocacy. That's what we are here to do. And we want to do that with you, and we want you to do it with us. And so that's why we decided to change all of this power struggle. We divided up responsibilities so that way it's not put all on one person to make the decision, to go through the planning. And what comes with that is we divided ourselves up into committees. And Chelsea, would you like to talk about committees?
Yes, absolutely. So the way that this will work is each of the members of the cabinet, so those three main cabinet members that are running the exec board, which are me, Skylar, and Jake, will each also be leading a committee. They'll introduce their committees as well, but the committees are mostly to work out and do the services of the club. So the committee that I will be leading is the fundraising and charity committee. The good thing about these committees is that anyone can join. It's not just the people on the exec board. If you are interested in any of these committees, you're welcome to attend our meetings and come and just like voice your opinion or bring us ideas. And we'll get you all more information on when those meetings are going to be happening. Like we said, we're just now starting to like pilot all of these ideas. So my committee is the fundraising and charity committee. The point of that committee is raising money for not only the club, but also different charities and projects that we decide to take on. Something that I've been looking into is like sponsoring some of our students, helping raise money for the shows, helping raise money for different activities that we want to do, and also make sure that our club is giving back. We stand for a lot of arts advocacy, and it's not something that we really get to put into practice a lot. So I think it'd be really cool for us to do that. So whoever wants to go next.
Hi, so the committee that I'm leading is the Community and Department Outreach Committee. So one thing that I've noticed just being here as a student is there's always like a big I don't even know the word I'm trying to say, but there's the departments between all in the theater. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, our department for theater education thank you, Felix. Our department for theater education, we tend to have a huge gap between all the other departments like musical theater majors or the acting options. We also have huge gaps within our own department, which is between each of our classes, since we don't really get to see each other often, or we don't really get classes together often. So the whole idea for my committee is a lot of bringing us together within our own department, as well as within the entire theater and dance department, which that could be hanging out with some musical theater majors or hanging out with some acting options, any DTOs, things like that, just so that we become more of a unit instead of the theater education option and all the other options. So that just entails a lot of fun gatherings. It's nothing too crazy. Maybe some arts and crafts, maybe some hanging out, some sardines, we'll see. But it's mostly about bonding and becoming more of a community.
And then, so the last committee that we have right now is the social media committee. You've probably seen the ThEdstagram has been wild lately. We recently just got our hands on that account and we've been going crazy. So I'm a part of that social media committee. And basically my role and what I envision this committee to be, we're getting the word out there about our club. It's in the name, it's called ThEd Club, but we're not necessarily for only ThEDs. That's another one of our goals. We want to get more majors involved within ThEd Club and be a part of it. So that's kind of the social media job. I want to do takeovers. I want to do freshman, sophomore, junior, senior takeovers so people can see what we do, because a lot of people have no idea what we're doing throughout the day when we spend half of our time at Teachers College and between the department. I want to do alumni takeovers. I want people to come in and talk on there that had a ThEd degree but didn't pursue it, used it to go a different path. Because, sometimes we get through this and being in a classroom is not exactly what we want to do. And then we hit that fork in the road and we go that path, as Karen Kessler would say. I just got a bunch of plays for Christmas. I'm going to start reading all these. I want to do play recommendations. So we know, like, we have ideas in our heads, like, this would be a good middle school play. This would be a good high school play. I don't know if you all saw my most recent post was the true colors on the Instagram. That's something that we've always been taught in the past that's not being taught anymore. So using Instagram as a way to educate not only ourselves and learn different little cool tips and tricks about teaching and just about interacting with humans in general, because that's kind of what we do at the end of the day, is we're interacting with everyone. So that's a little bit about my committee. And like Chelsea said, we're going to go into more about how you all can get involved with that, but that's going to come later. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, that's a lot of information. If anyone at any point is like, what are we talking about? Stop us. It's a whole revamping. So like, let us know if anything doesn't make sense.
I was just gonna say, we are also all very fast speakers. So if we need to slow down, you can just type in the chat being like, slow down or unmute yourself. We want to make sure that you're getting as much information as possible. We also don't want to overwhelm you with information, and we also want you to hear it. So if we're talking too fast or going too fast, please let us know.
Yes. And like we said about the committees, you all are able to be in as many of them as you like. And we will get you more information about when those meetings start to happen. And we would love anyone and everyone there. If you even just want to sit in and not really like give us any ideas, but just like listen to what we have to say, come, like we'd love to see you. Yes. So continuing on, something else that we are looking at changing, and we are changing for this semester, is our meeting schedule. So normally we've been meeting once a month on a Wednesday that we've like chosen. We are going to be keeping the time of Wednesdays at 7, but we're going to be meeting the last Wednesday of every month. That will just be our ThEd Club meeting to kind of go over what we've been doing lately, and then also get ready for the next thing. And the next thing will be The 2 middle Saturdays of each month, we are going to be having some guest speakers come in and some different workshops and things, which is going to be our big announcement of the day. So I'm not going to give anything away, but that is kind of going to be our structure. The second week, that weekend, we'll be having a guest speaker workshop. The next weekend, we'll be having a guest speaker workshop. And then the Wednesday after will be our ThED Club meeting as per usual. Does that make sense? Yes, and we will be getting all those dates out to you as well about which, when we're having those speakers come in and everything. Those specific dates will be announced very soon.
I want to clarify something about the representatives real quick. And after this, then we're going to get into sort of the difference between what that's going to look like. And I know that I'm the only representative right now. I don't really run a committee, but that doesn't mean that my role as a representative isn't going to be as important as the committee leaders. With that being said, we need more representatives. Please, if you're thinking about it, even if you're like, no, it might not be for me, please, begging you. We need a lot of people. We want to hear your voices. We're really interested as to what you guys want to do with the club as well. We're wanting a good amount from each class. I know that I've talked to a lot of the freshmen, been like, hey, you should totally try for this thing. And I know Jake, Skylar, and Chelsea probably have talked to a couple of juniors, but we don't really see a lot of sophomores, especially with COVID right now. We're not trying to hang out. But we do want representation from all of the grades and such. We will, if we need to, we'll probably be taking a vote on that from everyone in ThED Club as well. So if that does curious you, please stick around at the end of that. And furthermore, with that, your position is going to look like essentially what you want it to be. What you want to put your efforts into is what committee that you can join as a representative. And so I'm going to let Chelsea also continue on with sort of the difference of what the exec board and the committees are going to look like as well. Sort of what that difference leads into.
Yeah, so continuing on this, the exec cabinet will kind of rule over the representatives, and that will kind of function as, for those Wednesday meetings, those are the people that are going to be planning it and coming up with ideas for club. That is more so like what our club is actually going to entail. The committees then are going to be coming up with things for our services that we're going to be doing. So all the services of social media, they're going to be the things that like our club is responsible for, but not really the things that we will be doing within the club itself. Does that make sense? Kind of. Anyone can join a committee. The representatives, though, you do have to run and let us know that you're interested in running for one of those positions. And then we will be doing some voting for those as well.
So if you're interested in running for a representative, stick around after and we'll take down information. Also, if you are really worried about being representative because you're worried about a time commitment, the committees, being a part of the committees is less of a time commitment. If you just want to put your foot in the water and test it out, you could still be a part of the committees and still feel like your voice is heard, which we will obviously would love to hear all of your voices, committee representative or not. But if you are wanting to be a representative, please stick around after.
Absolutely.
Mikey, did you have a question? I saw that like hand emoji.
You answered it.
Oh, awesome. All right, so I think this leads us into the biggest part of this meeting today, where we're announcing all of our guest speakers for the semester. We are super excited. We've been like planning these out for a couple weeks now. We've had to like wait for emails to come in and like specifically like talk to the people, but we're finally have it solidified. We're finally have it here, and we're ready to get going to show you all what we have in store for you this semester. Everyone see this? Can I get a thumbs up if we all see this? Fantastic.
Awesome. So I get to start you off on our fun guest speaker journey. So this first person is a part of a club, not a club, part of something on campus. It's a building on campus. Not a lot of people know of it. It's a really, really great place to go to. And they do really cool workshops. And that is the Multicultural Center. So we will be getting a workshop through from Evan Morales, who is a MT. He'll be talking about diverse casting, inclusivity, the difference between being color conscious and color blind, things like that. So that is this February. This is February at 5 p.m., which is our first workshop. We're very excited. Yeah.
And then next, this is kind of like our big whammo of the semester. You all know her. You've all read about her. You may have seen her on a show that she has a character inspired off her old called NBC Rise. You read about her in Drama High in your 150 class. We got Tracy Gate, who worked with Lou Volpe, to come in, and she's going to talk to us about running Truman High School Theater Department. She pilots shows all the time with Musical Theater International. She just recently piloted Kinky Boots for high schools this past year. She's going to talk about her curriculum for her classes and how that impacts everything she does within her program. And she's also going to talk about that transition from Lou Volpe to her taking over that program, because we're all going to be stepping into that role at some point of taking over for someone else that came before us. So that's like our big one of the semester that we're really excited about. And that'll be March 13th at 5.
Right. So continuing on, someone that some of you, maybe juniors and seniors, I think, are the only people that would know. I don't think you all have watched Guys and Divas past that. But she is currently the director, producer, choreographer at New Albany High School, which was my high school. Her name is Amy Miller. Woohoo. And she also graduated from here with her BFA in musical theater. So hopefully we can get some BFAs interested in the club. And she's going to be talking about how she became a teacher and what that path looked like. Yeah.
And then next, this man is a wonderful person that I had the privilege of working with a couple summers ago. His name is Randy Peace. He is the former education director at the IRT Indianapolis. And he now works as a manager for Teach for America for the Indiana sector. He had a different path of coming into education. He was first an actor, and then he became a high school theater director, and then he made his way into theater administration. So he's going to be talking about that path and more about the theater admin, arts admin part of what he does, because we know that we have a lot of ThEDs that are curious and kind of want to go into that field as well. So we thought that would be a really cool opportunity for you all.
All right, our next one is also someone who is working at New Albany High School, but he's working as their resident lighting designer, sound designer. He also has work in theater arts management. It is Crit Fisher. Yes, and he's going to be talking to us about some tips and tricks for doing these design elements in a high school or any educational setting.
And then someone who is near and dear to my heart, near and dear to Michaela Strasbaugh's heart. She is the current high school theater director at Fishers High School. Her name is Anna Nickel. She is a wonderful human being. She's going to talk to us about her journey through the years as a teacher. She has experience teaching in a different country. So if you're ever interested in that, she can be someone that you ask those questions to. She's also worked in 3 different schools with very distinct socioeconomic backgrounds. So she's going to talk about that as well and how that impacted her classroom teaching and her theater department being a part of those 3 different schools. And then last but not least, come to find out, this is my grand mentor. She currently resides in New York City. Her name is Bailey Renee. She is going to be coming to talk to us. She is an alum. She graduated in 2018. She was a directing and theater education double major back when you were allowed to do that. And she's now living in New York City as a director and producer. She decided not to take the education path and she decided, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the thing in New York City. So she's going to come in and talk to us about that if you're interested in that. And we also are hoping to bring in some maybe people from like BSU Backstage who are interested in like producing work and directing work. So just getting another perspective from an alum who didn't necessarily take the path that we are set to take when we get here. So yeah, that's all of our guest speakers for this semester alone. We're super excited. We know oftentimes we don't get all of this stuff within our classes distinctly laid out for us. A lot of times it can be watered down, especially the tech classes here. So it's really cool that Crit's going to come in and really dive into like focus with us about how to make this work in a high school setting with us. So we're super excited about that. And we hope that you all are excited too. And we can't wait for this to happen.
Yeah, so just a few more things before we let you all go. On the topic of our education, so I have a few forms. You don't need to fill them out now, I promise. I know I said the word and everyone's like, oh gosh, please don't make me. So one of the forms you've already been introduced to, which is our interest form. So that form is going to be, all of these forms I'm actually going to mention, in case I forget to mention this, are going to be open 24/7. They're live links. They're linked to our Instagram. We'll send you out an email in the notes after this meeting. So the first form is the interest form. That's just getting to know what you want to see, what you want from ThEd Club. If you have any fun ideas, we really want to listen to you. We want to know what you want to see. This is not for the exec board and our representatives. Like, this is for you. We want you want this to be as beneficial as it can. Another form is a complaint form. Now, when I say complaint, I don't mean about another person, like a classmate, like, oh, this person said a mean thing. I mean, if you have an issue with your education, if you have a complaint about a professor, whether they are R2 theater education professors or another department, another theater and dance department professor, any type of, if you feel uncomfortable, anything like that, this form is completely anonymous. We created this form because we wanted you to feel like you have a voice, and that if something is bothering you and you're scared to go to a other professor, or you don't want to necessarily say anything because you're really worried that it's going to affect your grade or it's going to affect your relationship with said professor, this complaint form is completely anonymous. We'll take the complaints and we will talk to the person, or we will help you out in any way that we possibly can. I know from personal experience, I get too scared to talk to professors because I'm so scared that they're going to think, oh no, and now my relationship is ruined, but I promise you, your name is not on it. The only thing that we'd be discussing is what the complaint was for. So if you feel like you've been mistreated, if you feel like a professor have said something to you that wasn't right, if you even feel like you're not getting enough out of your education or things like that, please feel free to fill out this complaint form. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to help you in any way that we possibly can. And on a lighter note, the last form actually came from an idea that someone sent me through the interest form. So we do read those. They suggested that we do a roast session of faculty and students. And I said, that's probably not the best idea because that could get really mean really fast. So I took it and I decided we should do a honey roast. So basically what that consists of is nice things that you'd say about other people. So say Chelsea did a really great teaching lesson and I wanted to compliment her on it. So I'm going to write it into this honey roast and it will be read at every meeting. Keep in mind, we do read them. Please don't put anything mean or inappropriate. We will delete the comment and they will not be said. It's not worth it. But this is just, it doesn't even have to be like a compliment. It could be like, hey, I think you're awesome. Or it could be like, you have pretty hair. Literally anything that you think is sweet and kind. This is kind of a fun way to bring us all together and being like, hey, let's compliment each other because we're all great teachers and we're all going to be great teachers and we're all learning. So it's a cute little form. It's open whenever you want. You can write whatever you'd like. That's nice, please. Yeah. So those are all those forms. Again, they're on the Instagram. They will be sent out in in an email with notes. If you want to ask us about it, we could send you the link as well. The next thing I'm just going to talk about is our Saturday workshop, which is our first Saturday workshop, which is February 13th at 5. I do know civic people that this is the one workshop that it interferes with your rehearsal. We are so sorry about that. They changed the schedule since we've known, so we didn't think about it, but everything is recorded. So you have access to it. It'll be on that YouTube channel, like Jake said. So I told you, as I told you before, it's Evan Morales, who's an MT. He's talking about casting and diverse casting. And this is important for teachers because we're all going to have to cast, hopefully, or get to cast. So it would be really awesome if you all would spread the word and talk about it. Again, this does not just need to be ThEDs. It could be any major. You could bring in DTOs, you could bring in AOs, MTs, anything. Honestly, diverse casting and being and the difference between like colorblind and color conscious, things like that are important that all of us as theater artists should be aware of and know. So if you have friends that want to join, please have them join. We would really, really, really love to see them.
Something else that I just wanted to say, in addition to all of the stuff that we've said about guest speakers, all these workshops are going to be taking place via Zoom, as well as all of our meetings for this semester. We want to keep you all safe. That is like our #1 priority. So everything will be taking place via Zoom, just letting you all know.
All right, awesome. So like what it boils down to at the end of the day is, like we said in the beginning, we want to rebuild this community that we have within our option, and that we've kind of lost this year and have lost these past few years as we've gone along. And we want to really just make this a space for all of us to come together and just, you know, talk about what we're all passionate about. And like we've been saying this whole time, we're here for you. We want your voice to be heard, and we want this to be beneficial for you. And if it's not, let us know in one of those forms that Skylar talked about, because we want to make this the best experience we can for you all. That's why we're really passionate about it, because it's a really cool opportunity that we have to do some stuff within this group. And we hope that you all benefit the most out of this. Before we leave, and I know this was like a big info meeting, our meetings won't be this like informal like list of things all the time. So thank you for sticking through all of this. But I'm going to send a link in the chat. This is something called Answer Garden. And this is something that you can use within your classroom as a classroom like management, gauging, formal assessment, informal assessment type deal. And basically what it is we have pre-programmed a question on there, and you answer that question to however you're feeling towards it, and say two people say the same word or same phrase. That word will show up on the screen, and it'll be the biggest word on the screen. So our question is talking about what you're excited for this semester, or what you want to see from us this semester, just like whatever you're feeling right now. And you should, after you submit a couple of your answers, refresh, and you'll see more of those things popping up. So if you could all do that for just a second. This is just a tool that I wanted to share with you all that you can use in your classrooms in the future, as well for us to gauge some of the stuff that y'all are feeling right now. See some cool stuff here. So once again, if you're ever interested in using this in any of your lessons or anything, you just go to Answer Garden. It's free to sign up, and you can create as many of these as you want. It's just a really cool tool to be able to have in your back pocket for things to do within your groups or lessons. And then the exec board's gonna take a look at this after the meeting's over and kind of just reflect on what y'all said. And we appreciate y'all answering this type of stuff. And then if you're not, if you are interested in being a representative or maybe interested in being a part of a committee, like we said, we're gonna ask for you to stick around for just a minute. But if you've done your answer gardens and you don't have any questions or anything, feel free to head out. It's been lovely seeing you all.
Thank you so much for everyone who came. We really, really, really appreciate you. Please spread the word about ThED Club and all the cool events that we have.